right. It's been a good while. It's been a long time. You know what? It's good to be back. Yeah, I have a little setup right here. It's going to take a little while to get used to. I got some better equipment, but I'm not used to looking right at the camera. I'm used to looking at the camera that's on my computer, the monitor of my computer. So yeah, it looks kind of weird. I'm looking at my new webcam. It looks like I'm talking to Johnny Five from Short Circuit. A little tripod with a little lens that's kind of wide angled. Yeah, I'm just describing what I see, and that's not what this show is about. So the topic of today's discussion is I'm going to go ahead and talk about political rhetoric and how to make a strategic case to prove your politics. You know what? To make a case. And the second thing I want to go ahead and discuss for today is that viral interview with Joe Rogan and Dr. Malone. And the last thing I'm going to discuss is just my closing statements of pretty much the totality of today's episode. So let's go ahead and get started. That rhetoric, it matters, especially in politics. Politicians, they know this, but for some reason, us normal folks, we don't value it as much, but it's important. And what's important about rhetoric? Being respectful, making sure you know your stuff. And it doesn't really require as much effort as most people think. Just pick something that you believe in that the general consensus could probably agree with you on. There's a lot of examples, but we're not going to get too detailed with that. Let's just go ahead and discuss things that make me feel good about what I do. And what I do is very little, but as a collective, if we all did more of it, I think good things could come. So what we have here, I believe right here on this side, I'm having to think the opposite direction. We got our Nebraskan for Trump. And, if you show respect and you're kind and you're just direct about what you believe, you'll be surprised how vulnerable people will make themselves become when they talk to you. And it's really a beautiful thing. And people just think of it as pipe dreams, or like, you're never going to get people to agree on things. And I'm just like thinking, man, you would be a big, party pooper in the civil rights movement, trying to tell like some civil rights activists back in those days, like, yeah, you're not going to change anything. I mean, let's just go home. Yeah, you're that guy if you're thinking that way. So anyways, we got the guy that's Nebraskan for Trump. And, after we had a dialogue about talking about politics, I mean, I just always envision myself when I talk about politics with people that don't agree with me. It's like we're at a bar drinking, whatever. It's not a big deal. Yeah, we're going to have things we disagree on, but this guy was like saying, in all honesty, I think Trump's an idiot. I'm like, well, I didn't see that coming. And, you got do not comply down there at the bottom. He's vaccinated. But you don't know these things until you have a conversation with people. And we got Cliff Marco that appreciates my dad humor, my banter. You know what? I appreciate you too, Cliff. And the last guy that I have right here, and I just don't have room for other positive comments made by conservatives. Yeah, conservatives. I'm not a conservative. I am very transparent, especially with that Daniel guy right there. I'm a part of a right-wing content creators community. And I'm pretty transparent. I tell them, I was like, man, I don't agree with anything you guys say, but I am curious, so that's why I'm here. I want to ask questions, and I'm just genuinely curious to hear what you guys think about stuff. And, I've had conversations with these people why this content creator is doing what he does, live streaming, whatever. And sometimes I'll say stuff to him, and he's just like, and then I guess him and I have more of a conversation on Twitter where I just pretty much question his integrity because all the things he posts is pretty much to outrage people, and I just let him know that. And I guess from that point, he really didn't like me posting on his Twitter account anymore. And I'm like, I'm not trolling you. I mean, if you post something that's political and you put it out there, you just want everyone to agree with you. So anyways, he showed frustration with me one time when he was live streaming, and I complimented him. And he goes, oh, we have a troll on here. Everyone, that guy's... And I was like, what? I actually like this song because he's also a musician. But this guy, he's like, he vouched for me. He's like, a different perspective has always been civil with great conversation here and back with weekdays podcast. Good dude. Because you know what? I'm not going to agree with you, but at the same time, I got questions. I'm very inquisitive by nature. So, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the rude dudes. So, we have people that I want to consider them like limousine liberal supporters. I'm a leftist. I don't really consider these people strong allies for the left, especially during primaries. I feel like limousine liberals empower the right wing. So I have more disdain for them. Everyone was like, "What, you like Trump better than Biden?" I'm like, no, but Biden has potential to empower someone worse than Trump if he doesn't do the right things. And, there's a lot of things they do that's right, but the Democratic Party does a horrible job of marketing themselves. They just allow conservatives to get the moral high ground with religion, with the military support, with law enforcement, and all that. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm done with the Democratic Party. I mean, I'm going to vote for whoever I think's the best in the primary, and I just don't even want to think about who I have to vote during the general election. But I think things get better due to pressure. But these people don't understand that. If you criticize Biden, it helps him become a better person. But this isn't about criticizing Biden. This is just that whole limousine liberal crowd supporter crowd. So there was a meme, and I was always wondering and curious, is there a place, a source of Democratic memes that are against right wingers? Because I always see right wing memes. I'm just going to be upfront. I see a lot of right wing memes because most of my friends on Facebook and family members are probably Trump supporters, and that's all I see on Facebook. And it doesn't anger me, it just annoys me. These memes anger me because, you know what, if you're in the Democratic Party and you claim that you have education on your side and science on your side, there should be more civility and you making a good example of yourself and your rhetoric to convince other people to see that you are correct. But they don't do that. They want to go toss mud at people that are tossing mud at them, and it's just dumb. I'll go ahead and give you an example. You got Dan Tucker. So this guy is trying to defend Bill Clinton. Just like the media's touch posted a picture of meme of Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell and saying that, yeah, they're bad people. I'm like, yeah, okay. But Bill Clinton was there too. So let's put both of them in jail. And this individual's like, well, that's the way I see these people when they were writing. So from my perspective, Occam's razor suggests Trump is far more likely to be guilty than Bill Clinton. I'm not your bro. I'm like, you can see how I ended that in a nice way. I'll say, hey, brother, I think they're both guilty. Let's put them both in jail. That's not something he's for, I guess. He's for one doing bad and the other, hey, let's go ahead and punish that guy. If they both do naughty things, they both got to get punished. Come on, that's logical. That's Occam razor. So anyways, this other person was like, okay, he's calling me a right winger. Sounds like Yonder Tucker is another right wing troll. Its YouTube channel is less than a month old and has no contents, much like his little cranium. So I'm just like, what? I mean, I don't know if there's so much grammatical errors, and that other guy is Dan Tucker, and I don't know if he's calling me Tucker, because I make YouTube channels, and this guy doesn't. I mean, I make YouTube content for my YouTube channel. I misspoke. But Dan Tucker, I think he has like no followers and nothing on his YouTube account. So I'm just like, I think he's talking to me. But I'm just like, are you serious? Usually when I get people trying to hold the moral high ground and wave it, I just want them to think about what they just said. So if you are genuine, and rather you be right or wrong, you're pretty much going to be invincible when you have conversations with people on politics, because a lot of people that make comments like this are not trying to solve problems. They're not sincere. They're just trying to be hurtful and just degrade you. And bullies typically don't win in our society. And that's the good thing about our country. We don't value the opinions of bullies. We don't put bullies on a pedestal. So, yeah, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I just use it as to complement my advocacy for solving problems. It's not my job or anything, but at the end of the day, are you here just to add to the division, or are you here to, just toss insults? I mean, I just didn't know what to tell this person, and I just let them know. I'll let you read it, but I can't see the comment because my new camera's in my face, so that's what prevented me from you hearing my beautiful voice reading my tweet. But anyways, yeah, that's limousine liberals for you, and they just get on my last nerve. So let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of today's episode. We're going to go ahead and discuss the Dr. Robert Malone episode 1757, the JRE experience. And I'm a fan of Joe Rogan, and it's okay if you don't agree with everything that someone that you happen to admire takes. And Joe Rogan has been pretty consistent of being anti CDC guidelines. He just tries to make it look like, whatever. Meh. And the thing is, what Joe Rogan does for Joe Rogan has Joe Rogan money. And most Americans, and Joe Rogan, he puts out his little cocktail of his COVID treatment. And that's expensive, and I don't even know if insurance will cover his what you call it, his, oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's a steroid or hormonal steroid treatment, and the drip. Anyways, just look up what COVID cocktail Joe Rogan utilized on himself. There's a whole bunch of things that he use, which do have side effects like the vaccine as well. But Joe Rogan's like, shh, he doesn't talk about that. But he has the money to do that. And us regular folks, we don't. And we'll probably be seeing you on GoFundMe if you try to do the Joe Rogan cocktail solution. So anyways, don't do it. Just get the vaccine. It's free. It's more economical, and it's just as safe. And it probably has just as many side effects as Joe Rogan's remedies. He's always talking about eating healthier and doing the things that will prevent the disease from really kicking in. And he's 100% right. But unfortunately, most of the people that are against the vaccine, anti-vaxxers, they don't get the liberty to live the healthy lifestyle that Rogan does, because they're working all the time or they're supporting kids. I have a lot of time on my hand to do what I want. If I wanted to go to the gym, I could, but my family does take a little bit of my time, and plus I like to just sit around and do what I want to do, like this. So we don't have as much leisure time as Joe Rogan probably forgot, because he grew up poor. But man, he can go to his underwater tank, and he can go practice judo when he wants. And I'm just like, not too many people have the liberty to have that much time to focus on their body. Now, there's some people that can do it and make it work, but for the most part, especially a lot of those anti-vaxxers, I'm friends with on Facebook, they're always talking about how hard they work and what they have to do in their life. And I just don't see them living that healthy lifestyle that Joe Rogan is advocating for, and it's correct. So it's just interesting to see his advice, because he's seeing that through his eyes, his Joe Rogan money eyes, his Joe Rogan lifestyle eyes, not the regular American. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to this Dr. Robert Malone guy. And the guy he got the credentials, man. And I just feel that right now we're witnessing egos in the medical community, because there's a lot of credit to be given and a lot of money to make. Because, look at, for example, there's 3 things that could be possible. And I think that's what most Americans fail to realize. Is it true that Big Pharma is motivated by profit through all these vaccines and countless boosters that we're getting? Yeah, big time. Is it true that Big Pharma has a shady reputation? Yes. Is it also true that these vaccines are effective? Yes. So there's so many things that we could conclude that would just make us question everything, and that's okay. And that's the thing that gets resolved when people have these conversations and actually ask questions and hold this guy accountable. And that's why I make videos. So even if you don't agree with me, it would always be nice to see which points that you're just like, yeah, that didn't make sense. Tell me. So, anyways, one of the things that I just made me go, woo, with this guy was the first thing he said. He was like telling us, well, I do have products and I still work in that industry and I have clients. And I'm like, okay, so you're wanting to market something here too. So just imagine how much money you could make if you had something to do with, and he did, he helped develop it, but I don't know if he benefited like the way that most probably a lot of people did by getting that vaccine distributed to people in the United States. I mean, that's a big incentive to have your vaccine distributed to the United States, like Moderna and Pfizer. There's a lot of money to be made. And imagine if you could do that around the world. I mean, that's more profitable than Bitcoin, man. So I think a lot of ego is involved. I mean, this guy looks like Professor Light from Mega Man. I don't know. Anyways, that was a little off topic, but yeah, he does. But that's the kind of vibe I got from him right when he said that. I'm like, okay, well, he's selling stuff too. So I have a solution for that. Don't privatize the vaccine. If you do that, you're going to incentivize people to just go as far to confuse the public more just to make a buck. And that's not good. And the reason I say don't privatize the vaccine, because currently, right now, the government, due to the United States Army, has already developed a vaccine that's a one and done, and it handles all the strands of COVID. Amazing. Now, I am not crazy about Moderna giving me another booster jab. That's not fun. The first two vaccines I had from Pfizer, they were not bad at all, just a little soreness. But that booster shot, man, it made me sore for 24 hours, my whole body. It gave me the chills, and it also, zapped my energy. I mean, I really wanted to be on the team. It's like, hey, it's not a big deal, go get it. But man, that could make people miserable. And to think that's something you would have to do over and over again. And that's just making Moderna more money because so many people are buying into it, which, again, this is where so many things could be true at the same time. Is Moderna manipulating the system to build a profit? Yes. Is the vaccine going to protect us from COVID? Yes. But wouldn't it be better to just get one shot and protect us and that's it? I think so. And right now the government is able to do that. And that's where I credit. Here's my closing. Well, actually, this is not my closing. I got ahead of myself. But I want to credit right-wingers. I'm going to give you guys some credit for this because of all your whining and all your complaining and all your protesting and all your fake news absorbing. You made the government think, giving booster shots probably not going to work because people are not even, getting one shot. And if we could somehow convince them and market just one shot, we'd have a better chance. Because, getting Pfizer's 2 shots, which I consider 1, and the booster, that's literally 3 injections, that's going to be hard to convince people to take over and over again, So I think the government was incentivized due to all the people not wanting to get vaccinated because, like, okay, when is going to be the last one? Because that's been the criticism from right-wingers. And a lot of right-wingers are vaccinated too, and they carry that same energy. So I think that was good that the government was able to warp speed it via the U.S. Army. And right now they're in court to make sure they can get it passed and see what they can do to make it accessible to everybody here in the country. And I think that's a lot better than to depend on Dr. Malone's products and his clients' products and Moderna and Pfizer. All these private big pharma corporation interests, because Dr. Robert's part of that gang too, you know? I don't know why he likes to incriminate, well, big pharma. I was like, you're an insider too. I mean, what makes you legit? So anyways, there's a percentage of things I do agree with the man on. He did stress that there's a profit motive, and I'm like, well, you're part of that too. So anyways, and another thing that put the nail in the coffin for me with this guy was the commentary that he was making. If you want to see some more in-depth, better constructive criticism with the interview, you should check out the David Pakman show. He does a really good job of just showing you how ridiculous some of the takes. I didn't say all the takes, some of the takes. So don't misquote me, don't cherry pick me. But I'm giving you the specifics of areas where I did disagree with Dr. Robert Malone. And when he yelled that talking point, and he didn't literally yell, but he echoed it about how there's a profit incentive for hospitals to label people as COVID patients. And I'm like, bro, COVID patients are more of a liability. They take up more medical infrastructure than regular patients. When you have a COVID person that's inside a hospital, they have to do so many things to make sure they don't infect other people. So Uncle Sam picks up the tab for the extra expense. That's just the precautionary cost of dealing with people that have COVID. And for him to not recognize that is a little bit of a red flag. And also, Joe Rogan also grilled him a little bit on this particular comment that he said after that. He said, if a person is killed by a gunshot wound and had COVID, the hospital would consider that a COVID death. And Joe Rogan said, whoa, wait a minute. So if they're dead already and they got shot, they'd be considered a COVID death? He said, oh, yeah, I mean, that's just the code they have to put in. And then somebody from Twitter was like, that's very inaccurate here. People that die from an unnatural manner of death become a coroner or medical examiner case. So just because you have somebody with a reputation of working in that field, there's a lot of people, normal people, that have good questions. And this guy will go on Joe Rogan, a big old platform, to just say what he wants to say. And unfortunately, Joe Rogan has been giving a lot of people that have that, to push that doubt on the CDC, to push the doubt on the vaccine's effectiveness. Now, like I said, there's a percentage of things that I do agree with. The profit motivation, that's legit. And my solution is don't privatize the vaccine. Easy. I'm curious if somebody ever would tell Rogan something like that. I wonder what he would say. I probably would think he's like, yeah, man, that seems like a good idea. And you know what? I bet you if you were to say that to some right-wingers, they'd be like, yeah, that might be a good idea. And but you'll have people like Ben Shapiro say, that's socialism, or Rand Paul, or whatever. I was like, that's U.S. military, man. What are you talking about? That's USA. You know what? That's why you don't let the right take the moral high ground, because they distort the facts so much. And when you don't point that out in a respectful manner, like those liberals, those limousine liberals, how are you going to make that aware? And when I say right-wingers, I'm usually referring to politicians most of the time. So it's just like, it's one of those areas where you have to be strategic and you have to present the facts and sometimes use their own sources against them. So, yeah, man, I think that's pretty much it for today. It's good to get back on in front of my computer and do things I am passionate about. And I'll definitely make some more content. As to when, I do not know. But yeah, I want to go ahead and credit the right-wingers for complaining and carrying a big stink to motivate Joe Biden to get the U.S. Army to develop a vaccine that's a one and done. We're over, son. And it cures all the COVID strains. So hopefully that comes out soon and they can market that and get everyone vaccinated, and we don't have to worry. We can just enjoy all our liberties together. So till the next time, have a good one.